Hey friends, and welcome to another Halloween craft with me. Today we are going to be creating some spooky identification cards. So what you will need is some glue. You will need some letter stamps. So I am using these from the Dollar Tree that I got for my birthday. I also pulled this stamp set for this, and I may or may not use it. But I also pulled that. And you will need a 3x5 card, and I've used my Cricut to kind of draw and write all this stuff out. So I have this part here, and I have my backing here that I'm going to glue these together. So you're going to need some glue. And I am using these stickers from Recollections. They are in these little frames, and let's see if you can see how they change. So they look normal, and then they get creepy. So I am using those. And then you will need some ink, and I'm using this Vintage Photo Distress Oxide. You could use whatever color you would like. So that is basically everything that I'm going to be using. So let me show you one that I've already completed. And I just kind of came up with these names myself, the dates, the numbers here. I just kind of made it up by kind of what she looked like. If you look at her, she looks like a madame. And then she gets spooky. So Madame Viper. And this was filed. So Madame Viper, and she was born the 13th of October, 1866. And then I wanted to try and do, like, you know how we do fingerprints? I wanted to try to take the skeleton hand and kind of make like a handprint, like fingerprints. I did it on this one and it did okay, but then I tried it on another one and it just didn't work out. So I'm just going to skip that on the one we make today. But you can create this however you want. If you want to do this non-scary, you could kind of follow the same thing. Use like a kind of a postage stamp or receive stamp. And then if you wanted to fill this in a different way, you know, it's all about how you perceive this. And here is my back. It's just plain. And I was inspired to create these from Sunset Crafts and More here on YouTube. She created vintage ID cards, but I wanted to make it spooky, of course. So let's go ahead and make one together. So I have Madame Darkheart, and I have Dr. Jekyll. Let's go ahead and do Dr. Jekyll. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these two cards together. And just to make sure that they're lined up right, I'm going to use my wet glue. You could use regular glue if you wanted to. But I just want to make sure that I line these up really well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And then add these down. And the nice thing with the wet glue is you have time to move it around. Now I do know that Sunset Crafts and More had stamps, and she used a bunch of stamps to do these things, to do these cards, but I didn't have these stamps, and So I just utilized what I did have, which was my Cricut, and just went in Cricut and had fun creating the names and the dates and the numbers. So now that we have this together, I'm going to use the vintage photo, and I'm going to first ink my edges. I want to give it like a used, kind of worn look. And then I'm going to take what's left on here and I'm going to kind of rub it around the back. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the front. Let me get a little bit more. And then I want to kind of age this up a little bit. But I wanted to use this white card stock because I knew that you'd be able to read the stuff a lot better. But this kind of gives it an aged look. And you could do more or less however you would like. Alright, so that looks good. We're done with our ink at the moment. So now I need to grab Dr. Jekyll's picture, and I think this guy right here, let's see if we can get him in camera. So there he is, and there he is, spooky. I think that looks like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. For added protection, because you really can't put glue on these, I'm going to just add some score tape on the back because I want to make sure that this stays put and doesn't fall off. So I'm just adding a little bit of score tape. And then I'm going to add him right here. Now he is a bit smaller than my other ones, but that's okay. This one you could see came down a little bit, but we're going to add him there. And then I'm going to grab a black ink pad. I'm going to grab my black ink pad, and I want to do the filed, but I was thinking of using like some of this here, just because I feel like that's a little bare and could use a little bit. So I'm going to ink this part first. And then we are going to add that down. And then I am using these alpha and number stamps from the Dollar Tree. You do have to cut these apart to use them. And you have to, they will not stick. Like, they're not very sticky on the back. So what I had to do was actually add a little bit of adhesive on my stamp block here. So I need to clean it in order to keep that there. Otherwise they just fell off. So I had to add some of my sticky adhesive in order to keep these on there. But we're going to go ahead and ink the filed up. And I'm going to just add that on here at an angle, just like so. And it's pretty much that simple because I already did so much of the work on my Cricut. So let's go ahead and make another one. Let's go ahead and make Madame Darkheart. I think these would be fun to make for different seasons. Like, how fun would it be if you could get, like, if you have any Christmas, like, North Pole postage stamps, and you could get some, like, elf stickers, or Santa and Mrs. Claus and their reindeer, and do these little cute ID cards for them. That would be so cute. And the Cricut really took the work out of this for me, just because I didn't have to, you know, use a bunch of stamps or try to write this myself. So use those items that you have. If you have a bunch of stamps and you could do this with stamps, use your stamps, use your stash. If you don't have a Cricut or you don't have stamps, then you could still do this. You just, you would just, you know, write this in your own handwriting. So let's see. To stress this somewhat. All right, that looks good. And Madame Dark Heart is number 6666, and she was born the 10th of August, 1765. And she is I think this looks like she'd be Madame Dark Heart. And she's a spooky skeleton. You also have this one in the frame, although it's really hard to see her when she's not in her skeleton form, so I decided to use the other lady. Alright, again, let's put a little bit of score tape on here. I hope you are enjoying these Sunday craft with me's, and I hope you're crafting along. I would love to see any of the projects that you have created so far while crafting with me or being inspired by my videos. I'd love for you to share those. Alright, there we go. So now we have her, and let's go ahead and do the arrows. There's our arrows, and then we are going to do filed. And I'm going to put this one a different way than the other ones. Awesome. Super easy, super fun. And you could use this, punch a little hole somewhere, use this as a tag, and then right on the back, most of these have the bats. This one I chose to do kind of this fun pattern. I do think I wanted to stress the back a little bit more. Let's see if we can add some more. It's just a little too white for me. But you could add like a little piece of paper and your swap information, or a note for your crafty friend or someone you're sending happy mail. You could add these to the front of cards. There's so many different things you can do with these. I just kind of think they're fun. We created the potion bottles last week. Let's see if these will fit in here. So yeah, they don't fit down very far, but they would fit in here in the little pocket. So if you wanted to make them a little smaller, like half the size, you could definitely fit them better in those pockets. So have fun and use those items in your stash for this project. So here is Madame Dark Heart, Dr. Jekyll, and Madame Viper. So glad you guys stopped by today to check out this video. I hope you will come back next Sunday. We will be creating some bat flowers. I was inspired by V, who is Buzzing with V here on YouTube, and she took some flowers from Scrap Diva Designs in a bat die cut, and she made these super cute bat flowers. So I was totally inspired to give that a spin. So we will be creating those next week. So stay tuned. Bye.